Welcome to the Lead Her Radio Show, where up is in and women are on the rise. Featuring your host, Kim Boudreaux-Smith, business consultant and strategist, speaker, and international best-selling author. Kim supports women entrepreneurs in becoming top producers in their business. Kim's guests will be sharing business strategies and how to overcome obstacles and achieve true success. And now, here's your host, Kim Boudreaux-Smith.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another Monday evening. Lead Her Up is in, Women on the Rise. This is the Bold Mindful Mondays. We're broadcasting live from the Bold radio station. If you are interested in hosting your own radio show and don't want all the overwhelm, stress, and worries of everything, you can go to boldradiostation.com and just reach out there on the contact page, and either myself or someone from my team will get back in touch with you. That's what Bold Radio Station's all about. Come on down, ladies. If you want to get your voices out there and have beautiful global international waters of visibility. I always say international waters. Maybe it's because my guest who's waiting in the green room, she's like international waters away from me in the Caribbean waters. Reach out on that Bold Radio Station contact page. Let me see what's going on. Just another little reminder. It seems like such a long time ago, December 20th, and it wasn't that long ago. Bold is Beautiful was launched, and 27 women became #1 international best-selling authors. In fact, my guest this evening is one of the co-authors, and she put her heart on her sleeve and wrote it in a chapter along with the other women. I'm excited. I cannot wait for you to meet my guest. Sit tight, though. We are getting there. However, I'm in the process of doing a Bold is Beautiful 2, Book 2, and no, that's not the title. And Bold is Beautiful Breakthrough to Business Strategies will be out on May 2nd. If you are interested in becoming an author, this is a chapter, a co-author, a chapter in an anthology. Go to my website, kimbsmith.com, and go on the contact page there and just shoot me an email and say you're interested in the book, and I can give you further details about it. You can hear my guest tonight. Nicole and I will talk a little bit about anthologies and how it changes our lives and what that does. So I think that's it. It's a little cold. I have to say this because my guest Nicole used to live up here in Michigan, and she's now down in the Caymans. So before we go any further, it's cold and snowy up here. She's going to share some warmth and Caribbean turquoise water through the internet tonight. That's my request on Nicole. I'm going to beg her of that. Anyway, so enough of me talking. Let's move on. I want to bring Nicole out. So Dr. Nicole Eastman is a best-selling, internationally published author who turned to therapeutic writing and ministry following a near-fatal car accident in December of 2010. Prior to her accident, she earned her Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Wayne State University and her degree in medicine from Michigan State University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Throughout her undergraduate studies, she worked many jobs, including employment as a NASM, she could share that with us, and ACE certified personal trainer and AFA certified group fitness instructor. Currently, Dr. Eastman resides in Grand Cayman with her husband, Tim, and her beautiful son, Baby Jack. I love Baby Jack. So if everybody, please, can put your hands together and welcome my guest, Nicole.
Thanks for having me, Kim. It's an honor, as always.
Oh, thanks, Nicole. And of course, you know, I couldn't resist the Baby Jack at the end of that, you know.
He loves his Auntie Kim.
Oh, and I just love Jack. He's so sweet. Welcome. And yes, I'm serious about my request. Could you send warm weather up here to start melting some of the snow? Good Lord. Whew.
I have been seeing pictures. It's amazingly beautiful from a distance. My mom shows me photos of her outdoors on a regular basis, and she's got 2 Siberian Huskies, so they're absolutely besides themselves loving the snow.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Okay, enough talking of the snow. Is it April 1st yet? I don't want to rush time, but is it April 1st yet? We're going to talk tonight about moving forward from adversity. And Nicole, if you wouldn't mind, will you please begin? You mentioned it when I cited it, it's in your bio. I mentioned it about I cannot believe that was December of 2010. It seems so much longer, even though I've not known you that long. But will you share a little bit about your car accident and how that really curtailed, and totally changed? It just really changed your life.
Yeah, it did. My husband and I were married down here in Grand Cayman on November 26, 2010. So we took our vows, and like any newlywed couple, we were anticipating the for better and, the for healthy and all of the good stuff that you look forward to when you take those marital vows. We were not expecting to have our entire world turned upside down 2 weeks following our wedding. And we had returned back to Michigan, where I was working as a resident physician at the time. And it was December 15th, 2010. And I was on my way to the hospital where I was employed. And I unfortunately was hit from behind by a semi-truck. And my car spun into a counterclockwise direction, and I ended up getting hit a couple more times. And ultimately, I was left facing oncoming traffic, and I had anticipated that I was going to die, but I did not know what to expect with death. And I ended up not dying, which was a shock to me. And I ended up losing everything that I really identified myself as being within a matter of seconds. And initially I looked normal from the outside. I had pain right away, but nothing on the outside of me, even right after my accident, you would have not known how much my life was going to be changed. So weeks turned into months, and one thing to the next, I just experienced such an overwhelming amount of loss and uncertainty and fear and emotions that I had hidden through walls that I had constructed my entire life. And, we place these walls in our own lives so that we can have this false security of not being able to be heard. Mm-hmm. But in all reality, we're leaving ourselves vulnerable for the time when those walls could potentially be demolished. And for me, it was the accident. That truck knocked down every single wall, every single coping mechanism that I had thought I had placed in order to protect myself. So my husband and I had a very rough first year of marriage, and I ended up having spine surgery. I felt all alone. Had to grieve and go through the grieving process because I lost the person who I once was. I believe that person died, although a new person was reborn through the experience. The person who I once was, I can't even identify with any longer. And we spoke about moving out of the country. Well, initially we spoke about moving somewhere warm, and one of the insurance representatives had actually told me that many times when a relatively young person is in an accident like mine, it's not uncommon for them to move to a warmer climate because of pain issues. And prior to our relocating, I spent over 7 months out of the year in bed, and thank God for Facebook and social media, because I realized that I wasn't alone. I mean, I realized that through faith, but I also realized that through social media that there were other people going through very similar medical issues that I was going through. And, you know, although I lost my position as a resident physician, God utilized me to doctor and counsel people in a very unconventional way behind the scenes. I've been able to grow in relationships with so many people over the last couple years, but it's all been behind a computer screen, behind private messages, and it's something that I didn't even realize that I was being used in that capacity until it was brought to my attention just recently. And so we had talked about moving out of the state, even though I had never considered that my entire life, because my family that I was raised within, I never thought I could leave them. But then when your own quality of life, you know, is jeopardized, you have to start making tough decisions. And I realized that if I wasn't going to take care of my own needs, then I couldn't really expect anybody else to take care of them. So we were led to Grand Cayman for our 1-year wedding anniversary, and we shared what happened in regards to my accident with the pastor who married us. And his initial comments were, "You were supposed to be here." And Tim, my husband, and I were talking about moving somewhere warm. We didn't share that with the pastor, and for those to be his initial words, we just took that as a sign that this is exactly where we were supposed to be. The next time we came down to this island was in April of 2012, and we had just found out that we were pregnant with Jack. We hadn't even told our parents. My mom, my dad had passed away, so he likely knew before we did, and we hadn't told Tim's parents yet. So when we went back to Michigan after that trip, we informed our parents, and then we said, and we're moving out of the country. And so we sold, packed up as much as we possibly could. We experienced people's fears and, you know, their own insecurity and, you know, with uncertainty that were placed on us. And we jumped over our own fears, and that's what brought us down here. When I was almost in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, we moved out of the country with 4 cats and us and my baby belly.
So, yes, your story, Nicole, to me, I've heard it a couple of times, and I'm in awe, and it amazes me that the choices you and Tim have made, and what you both have gone through, because, you know, you were in your residency. I know Tim had a very good job, and you guys were recently married, and let's fast forward now a couple of years from the accident, and you're pregnant, and you are leaving your families up here. I mean, you're pregnant, you're leaving, you know, you're going to leave support of your mom and all your friends and stuff like that, and you're going into another country, and it's not like any of us can get in a car and just drive and go and visit you, because you're down in the Grand Cayman Islands. And and I personally know, you know, some of the things that you and Tim have had to release, your lifestyle up here, and,
right.
and what you had to step into down there and forego. Now, and you wrote about this in the book. Everyone listening, living on a Caribbean island, yeah, okay, you're surrounded by turquoise water and the weather's warm all the time, but there is a lot of trials and tribulations constantly living on a Caribbean island, especially when you're coming from a first world country, not to mention your friends and your family and everything, and you're pregnant, and now you're going to go down to an island and have a baby and be far away from your family and all the adjustments and adversities that you guys have moved through. So you can be in an environment where you can manage your pain more on a pro side, if you will, as opposed to this cold weather that we're dealing with up here.
Right.
You know,
this winter especially, the knowing what everybody is experiencing back in Michigan, it just makes me that much more grateful that my husband and I didn't succumb to the fear and didn't succumb to the uncertainty, because, I mean, I prayed for signs, because it would have been easy for Tim to stay back at his job, and we had insurance with his job. So when we moved down to Grand Cayman, we lost our insurance. We're still working to pay off Jack's birth. So I don't know if we rightfully own him yet. But I mean, like I said, seeing the pictures, the snow is gorgeous from a distance, but I know how much I hurt when I was there and we didn't have winters like you guys are experiencing this year. And I cannot even imagine how incredibly miserable I would be, and just how much less I would be able to mother to Jack. And I mean, he has been my greatest source of healing, and he's my motivation to keep pushing forward despite everything. I mean, it's not about me anymore. It's about this little boy who, he needs me.
Yeah. Yes. And again, like I said, I know you guys have, I love the fact that you did not succumb to the fears, because I know you guys, you had to have had fears, and plus not to mention everyone else's fears, and to really push through and move forward and get on the other side of those fears and what awaits you. And like I said, all the trials and tribulations of being down there, and what you guys had to forego, and the lifestyle changes, and to be able to manage your fears. But I want to say this, Nicole, because I said this before we came on the show, is everybody listening is... none of us have a white picket fence, and on the other side of that so-called white picket fence, we don't know what's going on. Because if you see Nicole, I mean, she's blonde hair, makeup on, beautiful all the time. You would not know one iota that she's dealing with the pain. And I want to share something, Nicole, and that you said to me a couple months ago is, you know, the women down there, and you've connected with some moms down there with, so there's play dates with Jack, and so Jack can have friends and stuff. And I can't, and I know you remember once I say this, so I'm going to paraphrase and go ahead and you jump on in. Is some of these women would look at you and go, you don't have much to, I can't remember exactly, you don't have too much to worry about, or, you know, oh, you know, you're so beautiful, and, you know, you really have got it made. When, and I don't think you shared this with these moms, you shared this with me, was there were times and days you were in pain, so much pain you could barely pick up your baby. And my point is, we never know what's going on with other people on the other side of that fence.
It's so true. And I mean, who wants to highlight? I mean, imagine how helpful I would be to people. I mean, I became a doctor because I wanted to help people, obviously. How helpful would it be for me just to put out all of my true realities? Like, oh, I can't move today, so I've spent most of the day in bed.
Yep.
You know? Or, oh, I can't pick up my son today. I am really wishing that I didn't get hit by a truck, which is something that I could not have stopped unless I had eyes in the back of my head. You know, or just stating, you know, it's frustrating for people to look at me and not realize what I go through every day. Or it's incredibly irritating for someone to say, you know, well, you look good on the outside.
Right.
And it doesn't change my inner reality. But, one, positive thinking is so incredibly critical for my self-preservation. 2, I'm not going to help anybody by being a Debbie Downer. 3, I have a child to take care of, so I need to pretty much put my big girl panties on, and I need to get myself together. It doesn't matter if I'm in pain, and when my little boy reaches up to me, I can't deny him of my love. So if I'm in pain or not, I still have to love my son, and that's something that I wouldn't give up for the world. I would rather suffer, be in pain, than not be able to love my son. And, you know, I've had people who have seen me in pain, because if I stand for about 30 minutes, I need to sit down. And, you know, I've had people out of the kindness of their heart offer to take Jack from me, and, you know, out of their motherly instincts and, you know, sisterly friendship, say, you know, hand him over to me. But what people don't understand is that's one of my coping mechanisms now. It doesn't matter how much pain I'm in, handing him over, that's the last thing I would want to do. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just my love for him is so deep that I haven't had pain medicine since I found out I was pregnant. That's something that I let go to the side because I didn't want him to be affected by this accident that is by no means his fault. I've continued to breastfeed him, to do my best as I feel as his mother, which means that I cannot do pain medicine, but I would rather give him that gift, which I feel that it is a gift to my son. And so I live without pain management. The insurance companies have not lived up to their end of the bargain in regards to paying for my physical therapy since we moved down here, even though they were aware of us moving here. So I haven't received my treatment in the time that we've been here, but I still have to function. And, you know, there's a lot of realities that I don't let people into my life. My husband can see when I'm in pain. I don't have to tell him because he's lived it with me. And, you know, I have to do my best with what I have been dealt in life. You know, you might not be dealt the best circumstances, but you have to learn how to accept that that's become your reality. And how are you going to cope with that reality? By sitting there and plastering out how awful your life is, or how much you wish you had somebody else's life. I mean, my God, I would love to have a life where I didn't have pain, where I could be in Michigan despite the cold weather, where I could see my mother. I mean, I lost my dad at the age of 53 to a massive stroke. So I would love to be able to spend more time with my mother and my godchild and my brothers and, you know, Tim's family. And I would love to have that, but I don't have a good quality of life there. I don't have a good quality of life for someone who's 95 years old in Michigan, let alone somebody who is 32 years old. So
right.
A lot of difficult choices. And, you know, being on this island, it's a beautiful island. It offers me so much healing, and I am so incredibly grateful for every day that I have here. But it doesn't make being away from family easy. And being, you know, Tim and I, just having us, it's a bit more challenging when you don't have your family members to pick up shifts with babysitting, or, you know, just going out for a date night and stuff like that. I think so many people take for granted. And I think ultimately what people have to realize is that no matter what your circumstances are, you have so many blessings. And if you're focusing on the negative, you're focusing on the things you can't change, or you're focusing on the things that you can change, but you choose not to change them.
Yep.
Then, I mean, who wants to be around you? Who are you going to help if you can't even help yourself?
Right. You know, it's something, you just said something really key there, Nicole, is when we focus on what we can't do, when we can make changes, and some are easy, some are difficult, and some are over the top difficult, but we can make these changes. But the more what we focus on that we can't, the more of the can't that we receive. And so it's changing of that mindset. And it's I mean, you're a walking example of how unbelievably you must have the most powerful, positive mindset. And you're a very grateful person too. I know that personally. And the gratitude because of what did happen to you, how it slowed everything down, and the changes that you have made to be able to be a cool mom to baby Jack, because he's cute. But I'm going to change up here a little bit of this. So tell me, how did Bold is Beautiful affect, the book Bold is Beautiful, affect your life? Not that you haven't been through a lot that has affected your life. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, Bold is Beautiful, one, it was an opportunity. And I think so many times in life we're presented with opportunities and we pass them up. And when you approached me, it's just so interesting because when I had met you a couple years ago, I never would have imagined that I would be collaborating with you on a book project which would ultimately help people. And so when you presented me with the idea, and it was about women who had experienced some form of adversity and how they overcame it, I'm like, well, that's completely aligned with what my purpose here in this life is. So it was a great opportunity, one, to meet other women who have went through difficult issues in their lives and who have been able to move forward despite those issues. And I think there's just so much power in a collaborative effort. And I think when we can look past exterior images and we can look into the soul of other people and really get to understand people on a deepened level, I think there's just so much beauty in pulling off of each other's strengths versus feeling like you need to be in a masculine energy and competing with other people. And I mean, I came from medicine, which is, you don't get much more masculine than that. People compete. Getting into medical school is not an easy process. And I mean, the whole process, it's so competitive and people want to outdo each other. And, collaboration gives you the opportunity to realize that it's not just what you're creating, it's what is being created on a whole. And I just find so much beauty in that. And I mean, so much so that obviously I went on to, start working on my own compilation. So it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity to grow. It was an opportunity to learn from you through your mentorship and your lead in compiling the book. And I just have the utmost respect, like I've told you, for being a compiler. And, I'll share with the listeners, I asked Kim earlier, when did you feel a sense of ease and just take a breath? And I was like, was it after, it became a bestseller? And, that's when you confirmed it. That's when you could, just breathe and, let it all sink in. So, yeah, I mean, collaboration, mentorship, guidance, growth. The title isn't really what motivates me. It's just the whole process of growth. But that title does open doors too. So I don't want to diminish that, because I've told people I have a hard time sharing stuff like that. But when I have shared it, or Tim's been so excited, he has shared it, they're like, wow, that's really cool, because not everybody does stuff like that. So it's just one more thing that makes you a little bit different than some people.
Yeah, puts you out there. It makes you very bold and boldly, but yet beautifully puts you out there and makes you very visible internationally. And it opens up doors. And some of those doors, Nicole, we don't even know what those doors are at the time. We're still maybe getting to it, turning the knob, or just visualizing the door. We haven't even walked through those doors of what being in an anthology does for us. It is a very prestigious business card, but boy, it is very prestigious and it works. I mean, it really truly does work. And it is a beautiful opportunity to be in such a dynamic group, and the bonding that comes with the group.
Right.
You know, so the behind the scenes, and the fact that once our words go to paper and the books get published, the humanity, the hearts that we touch, the souls and the lives that we touch with our words. And I'm with you about the it took me a while for that #1 best-selling author, international best-selling author, to sit with me. I mean, I received my #1 international best-selling author title a couple weeks prior to Bold is Beautiful, and then did it again with Bold is Beautiful, and I was still forgetting to say #1 a couple weeks later. I was still personally sitting with it. Now I wear it like as like I compare to everything, my favorite pair of yoga pants. I wear it, but you know, it really does that title is a celebrity status. It is status, and people do shift, and they do look at you and go, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." And that's a lot of things people don't even accomplish in their lifetimes, but they can reach out to you or I, and they can get involved and do something like this if they so choose. It's, you know, it's a 1,500 word chapter, but it's so much greater than a 1,500 word chapter. So much more.
Right.
So tell me some of the things. In fact, I want to hear this because you and I haven't talked in a while. I want to get caught up in. So what have you done since Bold is Beautiful has been released on December 20th?
Well, I am a co-author on another book, which releases in the middle of March. And I know that you interviewed Heather, the compiler for that book.
Yep.
And I wrote a chapter on finding peace and balance despite pain. And being about motherhood and just the amount of love that I have with being a mother. It was a really nice follow-up to the Bold is Beautiful chapter. So I'm really excited to see that book launch and to be amongst more amazingly beautiful women and women who have that similar bond. And then a couple weeks after that book launches, the I Am book, which I am compiling, will launch also. So it's a busy couple weeks coming up, and I have been pretty much engrossed in the I Am compilation since Bold is Beautiful launch. So it's been a really, really busy couple of months, and I'm looking forward to that point that you told me about with being able to breathe and just take it all in.
That you've got a little bit of while yet there to go, because I remember December 20th we launched the book. Then December 21st, Saturday, we got the notification that we hit bestseller. And then what I did was I looked at one of the categories and went, no, we had a couple categories. We were number 3. We were right there to number 1. And that's when I turned to all you guys and said, all right, we can't stop. We cannot stop. We're almost there to number 1. Keep pushing, keep pushing. So I didn't let the my foot off the pedal until quite frankly, I didn't think we were going to make it, but we did. We got that notification on Monday morning, a couple days after the launch. And I think, no, I still had not taken a couple breaths of fresh air at that point. No, it took, because I was already on to, Christmas was coming, and I was already on to a couple other huge projects, aka also better known as Bold Radio Station, because I was in the midst of all that, getting ready to launch that. My shows had been on that, but we were getting to literally physically launch that second week in January. I did a soft launch over in Ireland earlier, towards the end of last year, and then my show was on there. But yeah, so it's been a while since I've taken a couple deep breaths.
I forced myself out to take breaks, though. Like, it's real. I kind of have a routine. I give myself time with Faith in the morning. That's absolutely incredibly critical for me because it just sets me in the right tone for the remainder of the day. I have a couple devotional books that I read, and that then points me to other scripture that I'm led to. And then Jack likes to watch George, as he calls it. Curious George is like his favorite thing in the world right now. So that allows me some time to, sit on the exercise bike and just get my blood flowing a bit. And then just, spending the day doing research and interacting with some amazing people that this opportunity for compiling a book has put me into contact with. I've really led where I've been led to follow. I've followed where I have felt led, and I have just met some of the most amazing people with amazing stories. Sometimes I didn't even know why I was reaching out to certain people, but the more that I built that relationship, the more I came to the understanding of why exactly it was that their name wouldn't get out of my head and why it was that I needed to contact them. So I spent a lot of my time with the book and, just getting to know people, getting to know their stories, and watching the interaction build between the different individuals who are co-creating the book. And then, like I said, I give myself breaks. We only have one car on island, so I take Jack and we go pick up Tim from work. And then we'll usually, have some family time. And then usually once Tim and Jack once they're asleep, that's when my creativity comes out. I tend to write all of my chapters, and everything just seems to come to me between the hours of 12:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the morning. So it makes me a little bit more different. Like people, everything just doesn't happen on its own. You learn how to find balance. And for me, that's balance. That's when my mind is free. That's when it's quiet. That's when I don't have distractions. And I really enjoy that time, even though most people would think I was absolutely neurotic for being up at a time. That's part of my balance.
That's cool that you're aware of that, though, too, as opposed to fighting that, because there's no way you'll ever catch me up at that time, but I automatically wake up at 4:30 in the morning, so, and I used to fight that.
At time. Can we do early morning coffee?
I know. I'm game at 4:30 in the morning, cyber coffee. As long as I have my coffee, I'm good, But yeah, Grace and I have a little, Grace, as everyone knows, not everyone knows, but just to make it clear, is my 2-year-old black lab. And we just get up. We're up. I just love being up. I got it. I don't mind being up that early because I love being up early. I feel like I'm 5 steps ahead of the 8 ball and everyone else when I get up that early. But one thing I don't like being up that early at this time of the year is I feel like I'm so alone because, it's so dark and there's a lot of snow on the ground and it's very desolate. It's just a different feel in the spring and summer.
You guys are almost there, Kim.
Listen, I never talk
forward.
I never talk like this about the winter time. I'm an outdoor walker. I don't let things stop me going outside. I'll tell you what, it has been challenging this year. I remember one day Grace and I go out there, Nicole, and I'm like, yay, the sidewalks are clear. They're just a little wet. And it was black ice. Boy, her and I just went flying. I'm like, wow, so it really has been challenging. The only 2 conditions I don't walk outside is, of course, when there's lightning or black ice, because the black ice is very dangerous. But all right, enough of that. So, enough of that. But I know you can relate because you used to live up here. All right, so Nicole, I want you to share your project because that's a big project that's coming up.
Yes, the I Am compilation. Before Bold is Beautiful launched, I kept hearing this idea in my head and in my heart, and it wouldn't leave me alone. And I tried so hard to push it out of my mind and out of my heart because I was like, I have every good reason to be too busy. I have a 1-year-old, I have a husband, I have, you know, these other books, and that's a lot of work. And I couldn't lose the idea. And the inspiration behind this book comes from my husband's last place of employment back in Michigan. He worked at Hope of Detroit Academy, and I had the opportunity to join him on a field trip one afternoon, and I began speaking with some of the students. They were between like the grades of 6 and 8, and it didn't take long. You know, this is one thing Tim says that I've been blessed with as a gift, is that people feel very comfortable sharing very personal information with me. And I think it's because I've been so wrongfully judged so much throughout my life that I'm not a judgmental person. And so I sat with the kids and they just started sharing things with me. And I really realized that so much of what they were sharing I identified with from that incredibly awkward age where, I mean, your hormones are changing, you're physically awkward. I was not a real beauty at that age, and you know, you just feel so uncomfortable, and you don't really know what to do with yourself. And so I sat down and I spoke with the kids, the boys and the girls, and you know, after 30 minutes they were like, Dr. Eastman, can you come talk to us more? And I just said, yeah, of course I can. And I felt very led to do that. And I spoke with the principal, and the next week I was down in Detroit mentoring the girls. I called it Hope of Detroit Sisterhood, and I pretty much gained about 25 little sisters that I never had growing up. And we ate, because for some of the girls it was their only real meal of the day. So I would cook for them, and you know, I had become pregnant right at the beginning of the mentoring program, and there were some days when I just had the worst morning sickness, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going down there, but I couldn't disappoint these little sisters of mine. You know, they were counting on that time with me, and I was counting on that time with them because they blessed me probably more than I could have ever blessed them. We talked about, you know, body image. I brought in an issue of like a Cosmo magazine one day, and I was like, girls, how does this make you feel? And they're like, ugly. And so what I did is I took photos of them and I photoshopped them, and within 45 minutes they realized that they were created beautiful exactly as they are, that nobody else could be a more beautiful version of themselves. And for me, that just really made me feel grateful for that opportunity. And we ended up having an end of the year party, and I had people who were so generous. They sponsored from all across the nation. One woman, Judith, who was a co-author in the I Am book, she made homemade bracelets for all of the girls.
Wow.
We had the Detroit Yacht Club sponsored. We had Friends Here and Now in Girls Point. Some of the girls basically just volunteered their time to do the girls' nails and just make them feel even more beautiful. And we had a Zumba instructor who came down, a belly dancing instructor, and it was just a really fun event. And we did positive affirmations, and I saw those girls change in a week. And then within a matter of a couple months, their mothers were saying, my daughter isn't even the same person anymore. You know, their spirits were uplifted. And I mean, so many people gripe and complain about what they don't have, and they seek out so much materialism. These girls don't come from much. And just to see the amount of gratitude and just the amount of joy in their faces, that was such an incredible experience for me. So in December, when Bold is Beautiful was coming out, I just felt inspired by these girls, and I kept feeling led to do a mentoring compilation, but I was like, no. And it wouldn't leave me alone. So then I sent a message to Christine Marmoy, who does the publishing, and I was like, I know that this might be premature, but I have an idea for a book. And she's like, no, it's not premature. We have to plan. I was like, okay, that was too easy. And then, so we set up an appointment to speak about it. And I was like, okay, she'll shoot down the idea. And she's like, I'm 110% supportive of it. I'm like, oh, okay, that was too easy. And so we moved forward, and it's been a journey of faith for me. I have had to trust the process. I've had to trust that the right people would come into my life to fulfill this project, which is something I believe is so much more than me, so much more than any one of these co-authors. I feel like what we're doing with this book can really touch a lot of lives. And within each chapter, each co-author is talking to the reader, who say is in 6th or 7th grade, and they're sharing with them in a very non-judgmental, non-authoritative, loving manner things that they too experienced at that age. So, whether it was weight issues, which is something I can definitely talk about, and then going forward in the chapter, each co-author then shares wisdom that they've gained, that hindsight 2020, which makes everything so much easier to look back on. And then there's going to be guidance in each chapter. So each of the co-authors will share practical guidance for that individual to move forward. And really, it's more than just a youth mentoring book, because as I've discovered going through my own psychology appointments, is that so many of the issues that adults contend with are really youth issues that have never been resolved. And we all are imperfect beings who have a bag of issues that we need to work through. So the goal of the I Am compilation is for it to really be a launch board between the youth and the ones who love those youth in their lives. And I'm really excited about it. Authors, even though it's a great opportunity and it gives so many openings for new opportunities, but ultimately it's about who you're touching, because at the end of your life, I know I faced my death, are you going to have regrets, or are you going to be satisfied that you actually made a difference in this world? So that's what's really important for me.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole, and you're spot on. So let's back up here for a second. Go ahead and give the listeners your website.
My website is www.dr.NicoleMEastman.com. And I can be found on Facebook if you type in Nicole Eastman. And we're located right now in Bodentown, Grand Cayman. So I'm always open to friend requests. I just ask that you send me a message so I know how you heard of me, and I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody's listening and you are interested in this book, go to Nicole's website. That's drnicoleeastman.com, or reach out to her on Facebook and private message her. And
the website, Kim, is Dr. Nicole M. Eastman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks. I'm sorry. That's why I have the guests give their own websites, so the host moi doesn't make a mistake. So drnicolemeastman.com. Thanks, Nicole, for jumping in on that one. And just contact her through the website if you are interested in the book project, or just contact her and ask her, if you're not interested in a chapter that you want one of these books, they're not ready yet. They will be coming out. I mean, whatever, just, please reach out to Nicole. So Nicole, oh my gosh, first of all, we just got on. Do you believe we've got about 10 minutes left?
This is why our conversations usually turn into a couple hours, right, Kim?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I love it. So here's one last question. And I want to ask you is, first of all, I want to make sure that, have you shared with everybody of everything that you're creating now? I know the first and foremost is the book. Is there anything else that you're creating you want to share with the listeners?
Right now, I have the book. I am intending on taking the I Am brand. I just said it. I'm intending on taking the I Am positive affirmations and branding those, and then taking that on more of a international / global level. That's something that's been kind of undercover and in the works. There is I've talked with you about doing radio, so that's something that's in the works.
Mm-hmm.
And there's opportunities, but I don't want to speak into them
there you
too
go.
soon.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't want to cause any, I don't want to jinx myself.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I know the book is first and foremost right now, and I know you and Tim, your husband, have plans for that book as far as, what you're going to platform off of. And, and you're talking, I know you're talking and thinking about a radio show. So that's plenty, girl, that you need to share. But here's my last question for you. What piece of golden nugget, if there that you would like to share with the listeners on adversity, how to continue to move through adversity?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier, and there are a couple points that I thought were really important. One of them was not assisting anyone in dimming your light. I would say don't give them permission, but truly you're the only one who is able to control your response to what is brought into your life by other people. And I think that's really just about continuing to follow where you're feeling led and what you feel is aligned with your life purpose. And, people might mock you along the way. And I know for myself, anything that I've accomplished within life, whether it was, going to medical school or graduating medical school or moving to Grand Cayman or identifying myself as a writer, I've been mocked the entire way. But I didn't allow that to stop me. I actually used that as a catalyst to keep pushing me forward because I always believed in myself. And, just not competing with each other and just really doing what fulfills your life purpose. And I think it's just really one thing that I've learned is just to be selective with what you share to certain people, because you can be so excited about your dreams and you can know that that's exactly where you should be heading. But as soon as you share that with certain people, it can lead to gossip. It can lead to their fears becoming your fears. It can be, discouragement due to envy. And I've really just learned to trust my intuition, trust where I'm being guided, guard my mouth, which has been a huge improvement for me, and then just pray for other people who don't necessarily understand my full life journey, because nobody ever truly is going to understand your passion completely. Nobody's going to understand your life journey or your own particular struggles, and you just have to keep doing what's right for you and what you feel led to do, despite what anybody else says. And just know that you're worth it. You're worth giving yourself a second chance. I mean, I just look back on my life, and you can get stuck in a rut with all of that pain and all of that suffering. And at a certain point, you just have to say no more. And I deserve I deserve more, and I deserve to feel that joy, and I deserve to be able to feel that peace that surpasses any sort of understanding. So really just don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Keep having that courage to keep moving forward.
Yep. Yes. And it does. It takes courage to continue to move forward. And it takes a lot of courage and a lot of deep belief in ourselves. And surround yourself with others that are upbeat and positive, and also have beliefs in themselves, and in turn they can believe in you as well, and not the naysayers that drag you down.
Right.
It's so important that we surround ourselves with a village. That's my saying. We surround ourselves with a village to help us move forward. Nicole, oh my gosh, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and please, one more time, give the listeners your website. They can reach out to you.
Website is www.drNicoleMEastman.com.
Yep. And reach out to Nicole on Facebook as well. Hey, Nicole, if you could just do me a favor and sit tight in my beautiful, lovely green room, and I'm going to close up the show, and we'll chat a little bit right after. So if you could just sit tight, and again, everybody, please let Nicole know that she did a wonderful job. I'm just so excited that you were on tonight. I want to give you, and my audience wants to give you another round of applause. We can never have enough applause in our life as far as I'm concerned. And again, Nicole, thank you for being on. Everybody, thank you for listening in this evening. Stay tuned next Monday evening for another round of Bold Mindful Mondays on the Lead Her Up Is In, Women on the Rise, broadcasting live from the Bold radio station. Don't forget to check back on in here later on throughout the week. On the boldradiostation.com website, there's a schedule. We've got other shows, other women, other guests going on this week, midday tips. We've got lots of fun things going on here at the Bold Radio Station, and more to come, way more to come. And meet me back here at noon Eastern Standard Time on Thursday for the Bold Biz Tips Thursday. So everyone, go on out there, stay warm, make it a great evening, and we'll hear you on Thursday. So take care.